What is up, Bills Mafia? Ray DeLucci here of the Stray Buffalo Podcast. Welcome back to the show. This is a Hard Knocks recap. Just finished episode 1, and what an episode. I just want to start out by saying that as a Bills fan, as a Niagara Falls, New York native, a Buffalo region native, seeing the Bills get such good coverage on a station like HBO or a platform like HBO with Hard Knocks really hit hard. When I loaded up HBO Max and saw the Buffalo Bills being advertised on Hard Knocks, it just gave me such an immense amount of pride. I love the team so much. I love watching the Bills and what they're all about. And to be able to see the team, the fan base, the players, all just put it on a pedestal and showcased, it really was something special. So I just wanted to start out by saying so grateful for the NFL and for HBO for covering the Bills. Really excited to talk about it, and what an episode it was. I just have a list of notes. I'm going to go through it in chronological order. And I just want to start out with, it was so crazy. I thought last season's ending was rough. All the news in training camp of different injuries and whatnot. And what do we start out with? We start out with barefoot Josh Allen walking into the bleachers, sitting down and being ready to take questions. And you could just tell there's a scene where they're like, all right, just say I'm Josh Allen. This is Hard Knocks. And they're trying to get him to do that. And he just has that smile. It's so hard for him to just be serious in those moments. And I just think that's really endearing quality of him. It was cool to see that. It was cool to see that set up. And they kind of just go through the players getting ready. They focus on Deion Dawkins a lot, and they focus on Dawson Knox. I just want to say that I relate heavily with Dawson Knox. This idea of you're going away for 2 weeks and you have a carry-on full of clothes. Also, having his wife fold the clothes for him. How I relate to that. I'm not I am notoriously bad at packing my clothes in a suitcase, being able to get them right. So shout out to Dawson Knox's wife for that. Love Deion's house, getting to see him and his family. They focused on him a lot in this episode. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, it was cool to see. So they obviously go to St. John Fisher University. They are one of 5 teams that actually use a university as a training camp, which I did not know. So it's pretty crazy to see. It's also crazy to see, and I didn't know this, I guess I just never realized that they stayed in dorms at the university. I kind of imagined there was a hotel they went to or whatnot, but the fact that Josh Allen, reigning NFL MVP, stays in dorm rooms with the rest of his teammates is pretty laughable. It's pretty funny, not in a negative way, but just that visual of Josh and co hanging out in dorm rooms and just, that's that. So Josh has a quote. He says, "If you love football, you should love camp." And I think just this episode for me showed, I don't know how to explain it. You see Josh Allen, he's so level-headed, cool, does a lot of is the best quarterback in the league, in my humble opinion. But you see all this preparation, and I think that when you think of Josh, you see him as extremely talented, and you can see the results of the work that he puts in year after year. But to be able to kind of see his method and see how serious he takes camp and really bonding with the team, and when he's walking into training camp and he sees Dawson and he sees his other players there, and he's giving them high fives and making sure that he's addressing them and seeing them, that's just the mark of a good leader. And Josh Allen showed that during this episode. And so McDermott, talked about creating the right mindset for practice. You have to go for it in practice, he says. If not at practice, then where are you going to go for it? And it was really cool for me to get an insight into McDermott's mindset. You can really see that McDermott really wants to focus on the grittiness of the team, of preparation, of being ready, of being able to go out and do your best. And that's what I really loved about the insights. One thing that I thought was really cool as well was Brandon Beane talking about Josh and how he deserves credit for the stability the Bills organization has had over the last 8 years. I would argue that McDermott and Beane also are to not blame, but they are also responsible for a lot of that stability. And you can see with the players, with the coaches, with the unity the team has, all this talk of McDermott having to go, of Beane having to go. No, they're building a winning football culture. They've built a successful culture. Yes, they have not gotten to the Lombardi. Yes, they have not gotten to the Super Bowl. It takes time. I truly think they will get there, and that's why I'm not an advocate for letting McDermott and Bean go. They have shown and proven that they're able to scout talent, coach players above their skill level and make them outperform expectations. And the culture they're building, the relationship they have with Josh, how it feels Josh feels, like it feels like he feels comfortable in this scenario. And I think like to remove all of that and to just be brash about that because the season doesn't go our way, I think is just not the way to go. Um, Josh has a really good, cool quote. You know, he talks about going out in the field, seeing the fans lined up, and he goes, "It's hard not to be romantic about it." They, you know, NFL films, Hard Knocks, they of course have to reference the 4 Super Bowl losses. I got chills. They cut to a shot of Jim Kelly walking out onto the field with the red helmet, the '90s throwback, and it gave me chills. Like that's an era that I wasn't a part of. It's an era I wasn't around for. But to have that legacy still be so prominent, not only in Buffalo Bills history, but in the culture of the NFL, this idea of this team, on the one hand, doing the impossible, going to 4 Super Bowls in a row, but then on the other hand, not winning a single one of them. It's the curse of the Buffalo Bills. It's what marks our history as both great and terrible. It's what gives us fans so much just you know, we get a lot of it from other fan bases and it just scars our history. So the weight and the pressure of that history and what we're trying to do, and then showing the Chiefs game. I mean, reliving that last play where Josh throws it to Kincaid last year and he couldn't come down with it. Just watching that and watching Josh's body language, like that wound is still sore. That wound still hurts. It still sucks that we didn't get it done last year when I know we could have and I know we should have. We just could not get it done. So yeah, it was rough, but then they go into Josh's offseason. I was actually surprised. If you know anything about Josh, he's a pretty private person, but they of course showed a little snippet of the wedding photos, you know, obviously him and Haley. It's funny, Josh was like kind of recapping with reporters and he goes, "Yep, just got married. I think he said May 31st." And he goes, "I don't know if people know that." And I just like typed in my notes, like, really, LOL, like, yeah, it was like the biggest news story in the Buffalo region when you got married, Josh. Like, yes, we know. Joe Brady had a really good quote. He says he makes all of our lives easy. So this is Joe Brady on Josh Allen, and I think that like was also a theme. His stability, not only for like his teammates but for the coaches, their ability to like draw up comprehensive and in-depth game plans because they can rely on Josh every year to be impactful and to do his job. And I found that like really important. It's a really, really good observation from this team and from Hard Knocks to showcase it. I really enjoyed this segment. So they focused in on Josh Palmer, you know, talking about him coming from the Chargers, showing his iconic catch where Herbert throws it up and it like gets tipped in the backfield and then he comes down with both of his feet like on his tiptoes. And it was really cool. It was a really cool moment they recorded. Him and Josh are working on routes and they're just not syncing up. And Josh is like, "I'm going to get you on the next one." And he tells him to line up again. And I think he said it like took like 5 tries, but Josh did not stop throwing it on this route until he was sure that he felt comfortable with Josh Palmer. I'm really excited to see Josh Palmer. He seems very stoic. He seems very like, you know, just about the business, about getting his job done. And I'm really interested to see him out in the field. They then go to like talking about the Bills Mafia. And I've just felt so much pride. The way they showcase Bills Mafia, the love of the fan base, what it means to be a Bills fan, what it means to be a Buffalo Bill, and the relation of the Bills players to our fan base. You know, they had this really great shot. Josh is signing autographs and just kids screaming, "I love you, Josh. I love you, Josh." It was just cool to see not only how much they appreciate him, but how much Josh appreciates the fans. You know, McDermott has moments where he's talking about how much the fans, you know, earn, how the Bills have to earn the fans' respect and how you know, their support means so much. And like Sean recognizes how much love, you know, I have, you have, we all have for the Bills. And I think that's really special in a coach. And that's why I get a little like, I get irritated about the Sean McDermott conversation because you can tell he loves Buffalo. You can tell he wants the best for this team. You can tell that he wants to bring us Lombardi. You can tell that he's loyal. And I do believe in that loyalty. And I do believe in the ability for us to keep growing as a team under Sean McDermott. And I really want to stress that. And I hope Hard Knock shows Bills fans that aren't a fan of his, like, this dude cares. He cares. He wants us to win. He wants to bring us success and he wants us to keep moving forward. They then go into a section with Dion Dawkins drifting cars. I didn't really know that this was something Dion likes to do, but apparently he's got a facility where he just drives cars around and drifts them. It was a cool scene. They had some great music in the back. Crazy that he brought his kids in the cars drifting. He said it's a hobby that helps him release, and I just didn't know how in depth he was with it, and that was like really cool to see as well. There's a really funny quote. I couldn't catch who said it, but Tre'Davious White was actually a very big part of the episode, and I'm so happy Trey is back. One of my favorite defensive players in the Bills in the modern era. But there was a quote that was really funny. They're basically like, Trey, like your legs don't grow. Like you probably like the skinniest legs on the team. And he responded, he's like, yeah, they don't grow. I even drink whole milk and they don't grow. That was just, it just showed his sense of humor. I really enjoyed that. What was interesting for me to see and cool to see was Terry Bagula. As a Bills fan, he's helped build this organization, invest in Josh, helped with the new stadium. I know there's a lot of hate towards Terry. I know there's a lot of like discussion around him, especially if you're a Sabres leaning fan. And it's crazy to me, right? It's crazy to me that on one hand you can have Terry Bagula, who's so invested in the Bills and the success of this organization, and it feels like he kind of just like gets things right, or he is able to approach it in a way that gets things right, even that, and maybe that means he's not as like hands-on or he doesn't have that input. But then you see the Sabres and they're like the worst team in the league, and they've been consistently the worst team in the league. And it's crazy how like he gets the hockey team so damn wrong while the Bills are doing so damn well. So it was interesting to see. You can tell that Josh and him have a really good relationship, which is obviously an important part of the business. But yeah, Terry was on the field, and like you can tell he was at least clued in somewhat, because the question they showed him asking Sean was about the cornerbacks, asking about Harrison, asking about Trey. And yeah, it was cool. Harrison, he had a really great clip of him like making an interception. You could just see like that speed, that sharpness, that impact. They do show his injury, and it's very concerning. They kind of go over it quickly. Obviously, not as bad as we once thought, but still pretty bad. He's going to be out and missing key parts. But what I thought was interesting was Terry was asking about Trey White's health trajectory, and McDermott says it's been going up ever since he left. McDermott even says that he played very well against us in the playoff game with the Ravens last year in the divisional round, the one I was at. And yet, Trey was in this episode, just showed like how hard he's worked to get back to the spot. We have the first preseason game coming up with Harrison out. He is CB. He is like starter number one. And even Bean was giving him compliments, saying that he could tell he worked hard. You could tell that he put in work in the offseason, and it was pretty awesome to see that as well. And then like this just like captured to me this part. You don't really like see everything about a football player, and I'm sure every team has players that do things that we don't see, where they put in that extra mile and we don't even know about it. And for Trey White, it was going up to a hill outside of St. John Fisher College and just running up this hill before taking off his pads. And he said it's to get that extra edge over everyone else. So it was cool to see. They go to this ice cream shop, the Pittsburgh Creamery, and they do a Trey Day Sundae. So Trey White Sundae is a chocolate chip cookie with vanilla ice cream on top, hot fudge and rainbow sprinkles, and it was just cool to see. The line was out the door, obviously, because Bills players were there, and he's just like pushing this new menu item. It was really, really awesome. They had a bit where basically because of all the hills and the size of the campus, everyone uses scooters. A very funny part of KJ Hamler on this like kid scooter where it's not working. Really enjoyed that. And then they had Thurman Thomas, and Thurman was talking about back in the day. He had a lot of great insight. Thurman kept mentioning how well the team was built. He could tell that he kept praising Brandon Beane for having an eye for talent and an eye for Bills players coming into the organization and fitting really well. But Thurman said he was talking about like if you were to go back during their times, they already would have been on their like 11th padded practice because they would do 2-a-days, 5 days in a row. There's a part where the linemen are talking and they're like, yeah, our job is keeping the effing MVP clean. Keep the MVP clean. Keep Josh Allen protected. And that mindset was really great. And then there was a play where Josh rolled out to his right, the iconic Josh rolling out to right. I think he threw it to Keon. And just Thurman impressed, Joe Brady impressed, Brandon Beane impressed. Just in awe of the talent that Josh Allen brings. And then, you see the Hairston injury and just seeing the tightness and the tight knit family that the Bills players have built around each other. Christian Benford bringing over Hairston, who got injured, and saying a quick prayer for him before he was, before he was going off the field. So that was pretty cool. It was just nice to see. Like, obviously it's a tough moment, a lot of injuries, but I think what gave me hope is they're just such a tight knit community at the Buffalo Bills. So it was really awesome to see. AJ Epinesa getting up to snake catching in the offseason, catching an 11-foot python. That was pretty interesting as well. And then they do something really cool where they have Terry Pagula and Josh Allen walk through the new stadium. And Terry makes a really interesting comment where he goes, Josh was like, yeah, it's getting built fast. And Terry goes something along the lines of, well, yeah, when you have good people, you don't need to micromanage. And then he goes, same thing with my quarterback. And you could tell Josh, blushes a little bit. But yeah, it was a really cool moment to see. Terry goes into detail about how, obviously with Buffalo, we have adverse weather, we have high winds. He goes in talking about how the stadium's protected from the wind, so that the wind doesn't get sucked into the stadium. I imagine that's going to be pretty crucial in the winter with the snowfall, so that the snow is not swirling all around. So I'm excited to see the advantage the new stadium has when it comes to wind conditions and playing conditions. Obviously it's still probably going to be cold and there's going to be snow, but what have they done? How have they built the stadium to make sure it was better? And it was just cool to see Pagula and Josh. Like I said, I know Pagula. I have my gripes with him. I feel like everyone in Bills Mafia does, but you don't really get to see those moments between the owner of the football team and the quarterback. Just see them walk around and kind of just have some banter back and forth. Was really awesome. What was interesting to me, they showed the blue and red practice, which was crazy because that just happened. It's kind of wild how fast they got this footage up. And just the love from the fan base. Again, this is why Bills Mafia is so special. Going out there, 39,000 fans supporting the team. Dion had a great quote. He has a moment where he goes to the fans and is signing autographs, and he goes, "You show them love, and they show you love back." And there's a point where McDermott, he's talking about it, and he goes, Thurman Thomas had a huddle with the team, and he's basically saying, "Look, I'm behind you. The fan base is behind you. Go do this for them. Go do this for the fans. Go do this for them." And McDermott echoes that, where McDermott is saying, the fans come out, they love us, they support us. Let's go win for them. They put all this time, this money, this heart. Let's go do it for them. And there was another part that gave me chills in the episode was Brandon Beane was actually talking to Thurman Thomas, and he goes, "We're going to win it, not just for us, but for you guys, for the 30 years, for 30 years ago, for this legacy," talking about the 4 times the Super Bowl. And just that weight, the knowledge, the gravity that we are due a Super Bowl. This team, this fan base, this community, to go 0-4, to have that on our legacy, to not be able to get it done. That the idea that this organization, this group of people wants to right those wrongs, wants to right the past and get us a Lombardi, I just want one before I die, right? That's the saying, and I believe that Josh will get it done. In that practice, they start playing Mr. Brightside. Was a beautiful ending. That has become the anthem for the Bills, all because of a wedding dance. But Josh comes out in his red helmet, and oh man, it is glorious. That visor, the red helmet. I love the red helmet. It's my favorite helmet. So I can't wait to see that in action. But just this beautiful ending of Mr. Brightside playing and the fans going crazy, and just all the Bills players signing autographs, and everyone really just being a family, being a part of the community. I just love that. And yeah, it was. I got chills at the end, and I got teared up because there was a part of the end where it was the scar, or it was something along the lines of the scars are healed and we're ready to go for the new year. And that's the life of, and you can say any team, but that's the life of a Bills fan, especially in the Josh Allen era. We have ended seasons on heartbreakers. I'll think back to 13 seconds. I'll think back to certain games, and my heart just drops. My mood changes. It's just why couldn't we get it done? But then we start the new year, and it's like let's go. It's the new year. It's time. It's time for us to go for it. And it was just a beautiful, like, how they worded it. Just the scars are healed. The sun is up. Put one foot in front of the other, and let's go. Mr. Brightside playing in the background, and it was just an awesome. It was just an awesome starting episode, and I'm excited to see it. But I'm hoping they cover some of the preseason. I believe they're covering the preseason. That would be really cool. I'm going to the Chicago Bears game, so that'd be cool to see some NFL films there. Hopefully they can get me on the camera. Probably not. I'll be very high up in the stadium. But yeah, some takeaways for me from the first episode. Biggest one, no highlight on James Cook. Wondering if that is on purpose. Wonder if that's intentional. Obviously, the Bills organization is very low drama, and we'll talk about that in a second. Like, there was like no drama. This was like a feel good story. Like, I know past Hard Knocks there was drama and whatnot. This was focused on how tight, how organized, and how focused the Bills organization is on going to get a Super Bowl. So the fact that they didn't put the James Cook contract talks into this surprised me. I did think, it's good television. It sucks for our team. It sucks for the Bills, but that's the type of drama I would have expected Hard Knocks to put in, and they didn't. So that shows me one of two things. It shows me that, and there was some comments from Bean today that like they could be close to a deal, or they're going to figure it out. It feels like Bean's not going to let James Cook walk. Maybe that's just his rhetoric, and they actually on the inside are. But because we didn't see it on Hard Knocks, shows me that I think that they're gonna get a deal. Something is going to happen in a positive direction for James Cook. I revised my saying that it's going to be ugly because the fact that they didn't show it, I hope means that the Bills organization knows that they're going to work with James to get it done. That's wishful thinking, but that's my thoughts. Another takeaway, Josh Allen is fired up and ready to go. You can tell, like, dude looks great, looks fit, looks like he's ready to perform. It's going to be a great year. I'm very excited. Excited to see Josh Palmer. He's my dark horse this year for like exciting wide receiver player. Like Shakir's going to be great. Coleman, I think, is going to be stellar. I think Kincaid's going to have a bounce back year at tight end. But I really am excited to see Palmer out there. You saw Chase Claypool was brought up briefly in the episode, but he wasn't on the roster. Like it sucks that he didn't make it. Hopefully he will get an opportunity at some point. But it was cool to see that. And then, like I said, the lack of drama, like, and this is why, like, keeping Sean, keeping Brandon, keeping consistency and continuity in the Bills organization is so important, because there's no drama. There's no, like, they can just focus on winning football games. And of course, like, James Cook drama, and like, I'm sure there's like day-to-day stuff, but there was no like overarching themes. It was go put your head down, go to work, let's go get a damn Super Bowl for the city of Buffalo. And that is what it's all about with the Buffalo Bills organization. And it was really, really great for me to see, at least. So that was Hard Knocks episode 1 in a nutshell. Those were my big takeaways. Those were my favorite moments. Those were what stood out to me in my notes. I have a whole doc of notes here that I took. And yeah, like I said, it was just really, really awesome to see the city of Buffalo and see the Buffalo Bills, my favorite football team, just showcased. I was giddy. I was like so excited for this. And I'm just so excited for the season now. Sean McDermott saying that we care so much and they're going to go out to play. And like, it's twofold. I know they care so much, so I'm giving it my all. Like, I'm, in terms of being a fan, supporting them, doing this content, watching them, keeping it in a positive light, staying motivated. Because, yeah, I get the trolls all the time on TikTok and whatnot. You're not a part of the team. Don't say we, or why do you care so much? Because this is a team that I grew up with. It's a team that I love. It's a team that I love to support. It's something that I'm so passionate about. And very few things make me excited as Buffalo Bills football. And it's just the way it is. So no comments or anything else will change that. So the fact that McDermott, the fact that Josh, the fact that the team realize how much we care as Bills Mafia, and how much, like, and I was just like sitting there, like Josh was going through and signing autographs, and I was like, man, like it was almost just like it's too good to be true that we have a quarterback so talented and so dedicated and in love with the fan base. And it's like, dude, just stay in Buffalo your whole career. And I'm not saying that he's not, but like, just stay here your whole career, have a great career. You're amazing to watch. You're so much fun to watch on the field. And it just elevates our team to another level. The new stadium is going to be crazy. Talking about like a beer garden across, or and the amenities they have and how they're building it, like that is going to be an epicenter. And it's crazy to see to me that it's over in Orchard Park. Obviously I don't live in Buffalo anymore, so I don't have too much skin in the game, but like that would have been really nice if that was like closer to downtown. I get why, there's it's not. I understand that like that's where they want the Bills to be, but that's gonna be an epic area. Like the old Highmark or the Highmark Stadium of old that's closing. Like it's that area is so cool, especially if you go there on game day. But it sounds like they're really building up not just the stadium but the surrounding infrastructure to really enhance the game day experience for the fans that go out there. So all in all, I thought Hard Knocks was great. It was kind of everything I was expecting, except there was like no drama. And not that I wanted drama, I definitely don't want drama for the Bills. I would have liked to seen some of the James Cook talk. If that was anything, it would be that. But again, I'm hoping they left that out because positive things are coming down that road. So that is my review of the first episode of Hard Knocks. If you're listening on YouTube, obviously please subscribe. It helps the channel. Share this with anyone that you know that likes this or is a member of Bills Mafia. Going to be doing these recaps, game recaps, and a bunch of other content throughout the season. My first year doing Bills content like this, and really excited. If you're not following on TikTok at the Stray Buffalo, we're over 1,000 followers strong in the off season. I want to touch on that real quick. Just a big thank you to everyone that follows on TikTok. I started the TikTok after the Chiefs lost because I was like, all right, I want to cover the Bills. And the fact that I hit over 1,000 followers on TikTok just in the off season, just like talking about the Buffalo Bills, to me just astounds me. I know it's not like the biggest number in the world or whatnot, but forever grateful for Bills Mafia, and it's been a really cool experience kind of working with some media around my favorite team. It's some of the most fun I have, just being able to, put my phone up and being like, hey, like love the Buffalo Bills, hate the Chiefs, and everything else in between. So thank you all for listening. And yeah, looking forward to the next episode. If any big news comes up during the week, obviously I'll cover it. But if not, I'll see you after the next Hard Knocks episode. Thank you all so much, Bills Mafia. Be good, do good, God bless, and go Bills. See you soon.